to online training than others. So technical courses where you are learning about cellular systems, for example, are not suitable for online training. You need practical hands-on activities in the training course, and so those are clearly not suitable for online training. But a lot of courses are okay for training courses. And so the last topic on this was what courses not suitable, and this is how I just mentioned, especially the ones that are practical. And also the comment was made that sometimes sensitive information is given to the trainees at a training course because basically the information stays inside the training course. But if you have it online, it can be easily hacked, or other people can get access to it. So people might be a little bit more sensitive about what they put online. The last discussion group that we had was on how to implement. Where should APT attempt to source the online training programs? Actually, when I had previous discussions with different people about it, everybody talked about online training, but nobody knew of anyone that did online training. But as it turns out, a number of training establishments already do online training, such as the training establishments in China, in Thailand, and in India. But the next question was the killer. Can affiliate members provide online training course in English? So this is obviously something that is a bit more difficult. And some of the training establishments basically said, well, no, we can't do it. We don't have the resources and we don't have the capability of transferring their training course from their local language into English. And the problem really is that for speaking different languages, you cannot just do a word-for-word translation, because when you do a word-for-word translation, often the meaning comes out totally distorted. And I remember we used to have the famous saying a few years ago about Jinglish, the Japanese English that came out. So you really need to look at it as a whole paragraph to get the right meaning. So this was a lot more difficult. And however, the training establishments in India did say we have training courses in English, online training courses in English. And Thailand said that they are willing to work to translate their training courses into English. One of the other questions we asked was, should the training courses be provided on internet or DVD? Actually, when we first were talking about this topic 2 years ago, the internet wasn't so widely available in many countries, and so the solution was, okay, perhaps we should send the training course out on DVDs. But the situation's changed quite a lot in just 2 years, actually, and basically all the members said, actually we have enough internet capability to do this, that they'd much prefer it on internet than on DVD. So that was the questions we asked, and as I mentioned, we had the round tables and the discussion groups going, and they were very vigorous. I mean, so the room was really humming with conversations and things. And you can imagine that the training establishments had one view and the member countries had a different view, but at the end, actually, they came pretty much together, and it was quite pleasing for me to see how well they actually reached consensus on a number of the issues. So once we got all of the reports from all of the tables for each question, we had a plenary group and we summarised all of these recommendations, and as I mentioned, 94 of them. So clearly, to deal with these things out there, we decided to set up a working group, and we had volunteers from a number of people, Japan, China, India agreed to be members of the working group, and from the members we had Sri Lanka and Pakistan, India, but only one country from the Pacific, so and then what we are planning to do is that is to have an interim report for the management committee of APT, which will be in October this year, and late October. Date hasn't been confirmed yet, but and then to work on to try to have a more established report for next year. So at this stage we're planning an HRD experts meeting report for next year, and that we hopefully would be able to make some more progress on actually the implementation of these recommendations. Just made the comment too that the meeting report and all the recommendations are available on the APT website, so that if you are interested in the recommendations or finding out what was discussed in detail, then you can go to the APT website. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Vanaka Stewart, very interesting. Sort of generates quite a few questions too, which I hope you all have. So we'd like to open up the floor now to your questions. If you could please raise your hand if you have a question. I don't. We have a row. Yes? Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. This may not be a question. I'm from JTech. My name is Pramanik. And about the training, we are running at JTech every year a couple of trainings, so-called J1, J4, like that. So it happened that we found very few people from island nations. And sometimes they register, but due to various reasons, they does not appear in the past. And how do you normalize or adjust to this kind of situation that this island nations participants can increase in our training in Tokyo, which we do a number of training every year? That's one. And number two is, and that we have so many diverse academic background or so. So when you design a training program, it happens that someone knowing the subject very well, someone is very low. So instead of adjusting English language, I think better the technical level could be a better opportunity for the trainings. Because English, okay, we can adjust in a way. So I ask this for Stuart to reply, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. The first question about participants not turning up, quite often that happens for reasons that are outside the control of everybody, and that we just have to acknowledge that these things happen. For the wide level of expertise that attending the training course, this was a point that was brought up at the meeting, actually, that is very relevant, because they get some people who are experts in coming to the training course, and then they get people who haven't even completed the basic training on that particular subject. And so how do you run a training course with such a wide diversity of expertise? This was one of the things that was discussed a lot, actually, and what we really need to do for this is to make sure that we clearly define what the training course is about and the level of the training course. At the moment, as I used the example before, people will typically say spectrum management, but then they don't say you know, specifically what's required or specifically what the level of it is. So we actually have to be much more definitive when we tell people, advertise this training course.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart. Do we have any more questions? In the back there, please. The temperature is really warm. Are you feeling a bit hot? Is it just me? Yes, can we please adjust the temperature downwards? Yes. Sorry, please go ahead.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Mr. Hyatt, you made the statement, international connectivity is a bottleneck. As a regulator, or from the regulatory field, what do you mean by that statement?
You see, there are two ways of explaining it. One is that there is not enough bandwidth available, like the undersea cable is not there and the satellite capacity is very expensive. So you have a demand, but because of the cost, actually people are not able to use that. The second is that you have connectivity and you have got adequate capacity available, but because of the monopoly, the pricing level is so difficult that even after you have competition on the retail level, you still cannot meet the demand. And third, which I've seen in some of the countries, is that you have got international connectivity up to the landing point, and after that, there is no domestic transmission. So that again becomes a problem. So there are multiple layers which we can identify the problems, and that is definitely something which needs to be addressed either through privatization or deregulation of the international gateways, more connectivity, whether it's satellite or undersea cable, and of course any possibility to look at the wholesale tariffs. Yeah.
Thank you. Did you have another question?
Just to follow up on that. There are multiple satellite systems up there, so there is competition amongst satellites. There are some cables to a number of the countries that are in the region, and there are more coming. I'm just having difficulty with your comment that there's not enough competition, and therefore privatisation or other processes would be the way to solve this solve this problem. Appreciate your elaboration.
I think we need to get into more details about at country level, and then you would see that there are challenges. If I look at Papua New Guinea, you would see that there are 2 undersea cables, and there is satellite connectivity and VSATs and everything is available. But if you go at the retail level, you'll see that the internet is very expensive there. And I'm sure there must be some problems, and that actually caused the bottleneck, because there is a demand, but unfortunately the cost is very high. Capacity is available, some of it is unutilized. And similar is the case, for example, if you go to Marshall Island, you would see that there is an undersea cable, and of course satellite capacity is also available, but the prices are so high, which actually has a discouraging effect on the users who really want to use it, but they cannot afford to do that. We can get into more details maybe over the break if you want.
We have another question in the back, please. And after this question, just one more, if you, and maybe we can bring it up to some more after this. Thank you.
Yeah, Mohammed, just to follow up on what you said about this expensive cost of the internet. I think with all these initiatives, it is meaningless if the cost of the internet is too high. And I would like to seek your views on how we can help the Pacific Islands address this issue so that more people can use the internet.
Thank you for your question. Actually, the topic that we're addressing is human resource development. So if you'd like to structure that around that question, perhaps we could, I'm sure that question will be covered in subsequent sessions. So I don't want to preempt this